Hello, 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 and welcome again to Roots and Rebirth. Now, good evening and welcome. I'm your host, Afia Rise, and tonight we're going to be diving into a powerful but necessary discussion about forgiveness. Joining me on the panel tonight are the incredible Miss Meek. Also, Miss Shantane, each bringing their wisdom and insight to this discussion. Forgiveness is one of the most difficult yet freeing acts on the path to healing. And tonight we're going to explore what it truly means to forgive and how it impacts our growth and the misconceptions that often hold us back. Before I hand the mic over to Miss Shantane to get us started, I'm just going to discuss a few key points around forgiveness. Number one, forgiveness is for you. It is not for them. Holding on to resentment keeps you tied to the pain. Forgiveness allows you to free yourself regardless of whether the other person acknowledges their wrongs. That's a powerful piece of it. I'm glad that is a major piece of it, right? Number two, forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. You can forgive someone without allowing them back into your life. Boundaries are essential in protecting your peace. Number three, healing requires acknowledgement. True forgiveness doesn't ignore or dismiss the hurt. It involves facing the pain, processing it, and deciding to release its control over you. Number four, forgiveness is a process, not an event. Healing takes time, and forgiveness often happens in layers. Be patient with yourself as you work through the emotions. Number five, self-forgiveness is just as important. Many of us carry guilt and shame from past mistakes. Learning to forgive yourself is a crucial part of healing and self-growth. And lastly, but certainly not least, forgiveness doesn't excuse the behavior. It simply shifts the burden off of you. It's about choosing peace over carrying the weight, anger, or betrayal. Now, to get us started, I'm handing things off to Miss Shani, who will open up the conversation. Get ready for a deep, honest, and transformative discussion. Let's get into it. Go ahead, Mama.
Okay, it's kind of windy outside. Can you hear me? Okay, so how I wanted to start it off is what I believe is forgiveness, my definition of it. So I would say, just to simplify it, forgiveness to me is just simply acceptance. It's the act of acceptance and the process of letting go. So I believe when you're trying to get to a state of forgiveness, you have to, exactly what Lacey said, understand that it's for you, it's not for anybody else. So it's something that you have to do within yourself. It doesn't matter if that person changes their behavior, if the environment changes, the situation changes, you still have to find acceptance with whoever that person is and the actions that they have been displaying to you and who they're showing you they are. You have to be okay with whatever the relationship is and move from there and find peace within your heart. If it's necessary for you to create boundaries with that person, and create those boundaries. But trying to have control over everything and change the way it looks, it's not going to help you forgive. It's not going to help you come into a place of acceptance in order to let it go and let it be. So that's something I had to come to terms with myself. You're going to continuously be in a downward spiral if you're trying to get somebody to do something that you want them to do or say what you want them to say in order for you to feel fulfilled inside. That's an internal thing. That's something you have to do within yourself. And also, again, what Lacey said is it's not for them, it's for you. And if you need to create those boundaries, you have to create a relationship with yourself to where you trust yourself, to where you know that you're never going to put yourself in certain situations, environments, relationships again, so you can feel like so you can forgive yourself as well, because sometimes we need to go through a process of self-forgiveness. And I know for me, I had to get out of that stage of embarrassment and betrayal within myself, because you have to be accountable as well, that in some cases it may have not been in your control or your fault, but in other cases you may have allowed this person in and then they hurt you or they betrayed you or something like that. So you have to also be accountable within your journey. And I think once you let go and be accountable and accept and face what it actually is, not what you're trying to make it look like, then it will be easier to forgive. So that's just my tidbit.
Thank you, Queen Shawnee. And that was beautiful. Like, I heard so many points, and I think Miko agree. I was like, I got to remember to respond to that. I got to remember to, I should be writing this down. She's saying it's too many gems. I need to. So I'm like, I was already ready. Like, when she's done, I got to say something so I can make sure I hit it all. Right. But I'm going to let Meek go ahead and go. And yes, go ahead. Because I'm like, I'm still running it through in my mind. Like, I gotta make sure I got everything.
Well, Miss Chantanay, that was straight to the point and rather deep, I would
Right.
say. It was just boom, boom, boom. It was like, okay, okay, okay. So I would say this: when it comes to forgiveness, what you said about it's for you and about accountability, we have to understand, you guys, and oftentimes forgiveness does not come with an apology, right? Sometimes we wait for an apology. We wait for that, I'm sorry, please forgive me, but it may not come. So when Shante was saying, come to terms with accountability, be okay with where you are, right? Look within yourself. That's a part of that. I may not give my apology. I know we talked about our last part of childhood trauma on the other week, and think about how our parents never apologized, right? For things they did to us. It was like, hey, it's my way or the highway, or do as I say type of thing. So even as we develop and we grow and mature as adults, we may not never get that apology from mommy or daddy. And we still have to forgive them. But at the time, they probably, hopefully, right, did the best they could. So what I gained from what you said, Shantane, was, wow, forgiveness is for me. If it's for me, then I have to be okay with never getting that I'm sorry from whomever hurt me or caused me harm. That's what I got from that.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to kind of bounce around a little bit because my brain is still going. I'm still like, yeah, there's so much I gotta say. But the accountability is a really, really, really big deal, because when you're in the act of forgiveness, or you want to initiate forgiveness, you have to overcome blaming someone for something. And typically you have difficulty entering into forgiveness because you're still trying to point the finger. And normally when you're pointing the finger, you're skipping the part you played. And I'm going to use this as an example. Apologies if it's a trigger warning, but it's something that people deal with on a regular basis. So if you haven't dealt with it directly, you know someone that has. But cheating. When someone cheats on you and you want to stay in the relationship, or even if you don't want to stay in the relationship, forgiveness is a thing, right? Now, people cheat for all sorts of reasons, but sometimes, and in most cases, it came by way of some form of neglect. And that person was a terrible communicator. And instead of saying, this is what I need, or I'm asking for this thing, or I'm getting tempted because I'm not getting this thing, they went and acted out what they needed elsewhere. So when you're the person that was cheated on, you don't want to hear that, because you associate that with, that means what you did is my fault. No, that's not what that means. What it means is that within this relationship, Perhaps you were depressed. Perhaps you were working a lot and failed to acknowledge them. Perhaps they were telling you over and over and over, and it was something you uh, overlooked because you didn't think it was a thing. And because you may have thought that they wouldn't get to drastic measures such as cheating, you didn't give it to yourself to focus on. You know what I mean? Sometimes children act out and they've been saying, Daddy, attention, attention, come to my game, come to my game, come to my game. And then all of a sudden you're sitting here in the principal's office. You don't want to hear that I've been asking you, hello, for attention. Now I'm at school showing my behind. So now now you have to be here because the adult called you. You know what I mean? The parent doesn't want to hear that maybe I've been neglecting my child. Maybe when they were talking to me, I wasn't listening. And that's when the accountability comes into play that yes, we do get hurt. But a lot of the time, we played a part in how it developed. We're not responsible for their actions that manifested as a result of their pain or manifested as a result of their interpretation of what happened. But can you take responsibility for the fact that your actions created an emotion? What they did with the emotion is not your responsibility. That's the part that you get to forgive yourself for, or say that I feel ashamed of, or I feel guilty of, if you're going to forgive yourself. And that's just if you played a role. Then there's also the innocence part of it. There's been a lot of conversation right now about, and forgive me, this is also a triggering topic, but it's in my mind because I've been listening to it for a good portion of the day, but being violated as a child and hearing grown women talk about the trauma that they have now as an adult and being angry at the person that initiated, being mad at the person that failed to protect, and then being mad at themselves for not seeking help, being mad at themselves for not telling anyone, being mad, you know what I mean? So there's so much forgiveness wrapped around in that as well. I have to forgive my mom, let's say, for being so broken she didn't protect me. I have to forgive the person that was so broken. They looked to me for a responsibility to them that I didn't owe them as a child. I have to forgive myself for not wanting to tell anybody because I thought I wouldn't be believed. I thought I wouldn't be protected. I underestimated the efforts of the people around me. Or let's say I had an opportunity to tell and I didn't tell. The guilt that sits there and there. Forgive myself for not taking a way out for more than one reason. You know what I mean? There's plenty of reasons why a person would do that. So forgiving yourself and taking accountability kind of go hand in hand. And sometimes the things we experience get worse because of the role we played. And that's something to look at and say, this came by way of how I participated. I know with myself, I told you guys a couple of lives ago about me wanting a certain type of attention from my father and holding him responsible for showing affection to me in the way my mother showed affection to me. The accountability that I needed to have was acknowledging that he was my father and not my mother, that he was entitled to his own line of communication with me separate from my mother. They did not have to be identical. I wanted it to be that. And I held him to that. And that created a separation between him and I as far as a father-daughter relationship. That was the role that I played, trying to pin him down to this box and say, you're my dad, you should be affectionate. And what came from that was, you obviously don't love me because you're not affectionate. You're obviously this because you're not affectionate. You're obviously that because you're, you know what I mean? And it's like, though, yes, I do have a father that's more acts and services rather than physical touch and verbal affirmation. That doesn't mean he doesn't love me though. You see what I'm saying? He just expressed himself to a different in a different way. And it was my conviction about what love should look like that made my experience worse than what it actually was. Because when I grew up and I wanted a definition for what does it mean to be masculine? What does it mean to be a good father? My father checked all the boxes and I was like, well, damn. What was I looking at? Like, well, I thought, and don't get me wrong, there were experiences that were hard on me because of how I saw it. And I made clear that that's how I saw it. And the communication was never changed. Like, I wasn't a closed mouth, don't get fed type person. I talked to my father about how I saw things. And it wasn't a clear explanation as to why I saw something different. Otherwise, I would have seen it as something different a long time ago. But I still have to have some type of accountability and forgiveness for forgiving myself for holding him to an identity that wasn't his. My responsibility is expecting him to be my mother when he clearly wasn't. My responsibility was wanting him to have more feminine traits than what he has as a masculine man. You know what I mean? And forgive myself for essentially depriving myself of the love that I was actually looking for because it didn't look like what I wanted it to. Now I have to go back into my memory and go, now, would I had a more loving relationship if what I was looking for was what he was offering? A good portion of that is me. You see what I'm saying? So that's a very, very, very big component, is to forgive them for how they exist, for how they show up, for who they are, and forgiving yourself and taking accountability. Not and this, before I put it back out on the table, is a big one because um and I lost it just that quick, and I promise you it was the gem of a lifetime and it just left my brain. Okay, so yeah, hopefully you come back so everyone can hear it, but if you have something to add, Miss Meek.
So we talked about the accountability portion of forgiveness, right? And being able to forgive without an apology and letting go with the expectation of an apology when it comes to forgiveness. But I think another important component is to understand that forgiveness is not one dimensional, right?
Yes.
It's multi-layered too, and it's multi-dimensional, because you may forgive the act, but then you have to forgive the emotion that you have with the act, and then the person that brought the act, and then anything that came after the emotion, the action you took. So I forgive you. It's easy to say it,
Yeah.
but it's harder to go through the process of actually getting there. That's why people are in therapy so long, or mentorships, right? Because they think they've forgiven it, right? They think they've
Yeah.
healed from it or moved past it, but in actuality, it's still a root that still grows some type of toxic fruit. Every now and again, it'll rear its ugly
Absolutely.
head. And oftentimes, I learned with forgiveness too, if you don't truly forgive the person or the situation that occurred with you, you apply that to the next person, right? And the next person and the next person and the next person. So your experience becomes horrible, for lack of better words,
Yes.
because you have not let go of the very same thing you said you forgave. Does that make sense, Sophia?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. It's amazing how many layers there are associated with forgiveness when you think about it. And I would even add to release expectations, because when you forgive, the thought is something will come from that. And you may toss your forgiveness if it's not responded to in the way you expect. Sometimes you forgive someone because you expect change to manifest within the person you forgive in a specific way. Or even for yourself, you might forgive yourself because you think it'll make you feel better, but you still feel like crap. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like forgiveness doesn't erase the guilt. You still have to do work there. Like, the forgiveness essentially takes off the mask, so you can look behind it, and gives you permission to look deeper than what you would have before, so you can examine it. Forgiveness gives you permission to start healing and lets you put down the anger of it all, because it's like the anger, the hostility, the thing, the part of healing that keeps you tied. Forgiveness undoes the knot, figuratively speaking, like, if that makes sense. It doesn't mean you have no work to do. It means that I give myself permission to move on. I give myself permission to be happy again. I give myself permission to, let's say, dialogue about the things I've been silent about, and kind of start the healing process. Forgiveness is definitely possesses a lot of layers. But going back to what you said, Meek, too, as far as not getting an apology, I think that falls in with the expectations. Like, you expect, and I think too, we withhold forgiveness and make it contingent on an apology. And so I think that's a negative as well, because what you're saying is, I won't release myself until you apologize. If the forgiveness is for you, but somebody else has to give you an apology before the knot comes undone, you're saying, I'll keep myself hogtied until you apologize. I keep myself bound until you apologize. And I'll keep myself in this mental prison until you apologize. And for some of you, the apology isn't coming. For a lot of you, the apology isn't coming. So if that's how you feel, it means you will continue to be bound. And that's not conducive to healing. And that's something that we have to keep in mind. I'm gonna read this. I'm truly working on forgiveness every day. I'm also working on some. Are you saying not worthy of forgiveness, Tamika? I think some are not worthy of forgiveness. And listen, while I agree, because when I hear that, I can think of somebody that I would say that about. The truth is, everyone is worthy of forgiveness. And let me tell you why. They're worthy of forgiveness because, again, what I said 2 seconds ago is, when you choose to withhold that forgiveness, you're choosing to hogtie yourself. And you might not feel like you're hogtied because it's out of sight, out of mind. But the minute you have to be around that person, you'll feel the restraints. And you'll realize, I haven't let a lot of this go. You'll feel the restriction, you'll feel the discomfort, you'll feel the anger, you'll feel the hurt. Now, if you have to not forgive that person, but stay away from them for you to feel like you have your life back, that's number one, not forgiveness. And number two, that's not showing yourself you are free. That's running. Escaping. That's using the back door, essentially. You know what I mean? So and sometimes that's the only thing we can do to get through the now. So I understand that, but is your agenda to get through the now, or to start healing? And that's how you know what to do. There's a phrase that I love to repeat to myself when I get stuck, when I hit a crossroads, when you have multiple options and you don't know which way to go. The difficult thing and the correct thing are usually the same thing. You might take another road because it's easier, but the truth is, the more difficult road is usually the correct one. And we will excuse and rationalize a lot to avoid that road. whether it be sometimes you've done something wrong, but you felt like they did something to you first, and you're like, I don't want to apologize. Like, no, because they did this to me, and I'm justified in cussing them out. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But what's difficult to do is to apologize to somebody who's done something to you first. But the truth is, that's probably the right way to go, is because if you apologize to that person, regardless of them apologizing to you, you dispel all the negative energy in your body. You can move forward. There's no looking over your shoulder for retaliation. Don't get me wrong, they might harbor something, but from that apology forward, you have released and gotten rid of all that negativity from your body, which means you're not taking a toll on your health anymore at this moment. And that's the part too that we don't talk about enough. That when you're hanging on to a lack of forgiveness, when you're hanging on to anger, when you're hanging on to resentment, when you're hanging on to vindictiveness, you are choosing to make yourself sick. And because we don't feel it from the day to day, you get to ignore it. Because it's going to take 10 years, it's going to take 20 years for that to manifest. And when you come up with that autoimmune disease, when you come up with system failing, when you come, you know what I mean? When you look in the mirror, you look 15 years older than what you are. I need you to understand that a lot of that is the stress you held. A lot of that is the lack of forgiveness you held. A lot of that is the guilt and shame that you held. You may not want to address it now, but you are taking a toll on your own body. So lack of forgiveness doesn't serve anyone, not even you. Running from withholding doesn't help with that either.
I want to say, Afia, forgive my child in the background. He is having a time of his life.
No,
With
I'm
the
over here trying not
silence.
to giggle. I'm like, and I
I'm
can
like,
hear it. I'm like,
oh my goodness, he's having a time. Forgiveness.
right.
So mommy's busy, but it's okay. Forgiveness. I want to say, and this is my perspective, right? You okay? You did it. Sometimes we mistake forgiveness for being back in your circle or your space. That's not what we mean at all, right? I can
Right.
forgive you and know who you are and understand how you move and not even have that type of connection again. So understand,
Yeah.
audience, I forgive you. That does not mean we're gonna go have lunch, have a drink, go have a
Yes.
family picnic. It just means that part of my life that caused me hurt, harm, or discomfort, I'm willing to let it go and move past it. But it does not mean you are welcome back into my space
Agreed.
by any means necessary. I'm gonna go a step further. I'm gonna take what you spoke about, things that happen when you were a child, children being, not you, but children being touched. Let's go to co-parenting. Us single mothers, single fathers out there in the world, right? We may
Mm-hmm.
have an issue with how our partner, how things ended, a bad breakup, bad exchange of words, whatever that looks like. But you still have to co-parent with this beautiful baby princess or baby prince, right? I can
Yes.
forgive my son's father. You can forgive your son's father or whatever, but it does not mean we have to be friends. It means we have to co-parent and be in a positive space for the sake of said child. It does not
Yes.
mean I want to go have lunch with you as I have the child. It does not
Yes.
mean I want to go and rekindle, reconcile with you, right? It purely means whatever happened between us, I'm willing to forgive you for my sake and for the sake of our child. So understand that in totality
Absolutely.
that I can forgive you and truly, truly, truly forgive you and be totally within my rights to not
Yeah.
have you in my circle anymore.
Absolutely. And I think that chimes in with what Shawnee was saying about boundaries. You can forgive and lay out those boundaries. And here's a kind of a sticky thing. Because a lot of those people that need to be forgiven are our parents for one thing or another. When we're talking about these type of trauma and healing and those type of things, it's a lot easier to deal with somebody that's not a part of your family that you can just cut off, and we tend to utilize that method. Like, I don't have to see you every day. Where's my scissors? But when you're dealing with your sibling, you're dealing with your parents, they're going to be at the family cookout. They'll be there for the family reunion. Now things are awkward. you have to keep revisiting whatever it is that's causing the elephant in the room, so to speak. And sometimes forgiveness is understanding that they didn't have it to give. And it's a difficult thing to do, but sometimes what you need, they don't have, honey. And it's a hard thing, especially when you're the child, because you're like, you're supposed to deposit within me. You're supposed to provide for me. You're supposed to educate me and make sure I'm prepared to do X, Y, Z. Why am I playing the bigger person in this? Why am I playing the adult in this? And something about that makes you upset as the child because you feel like you're entitled to an authority figure. But the truth is, some of us were raised by children. Some of us grew up alongside a child. Some of us were born and our parent couldn't even complete high school because we were born. Some of us were born and that severed their relationship, and the difficulty behind being a single mother or single parent drove them into coping mechanisms that destroyed them. Some of us are the representation of the worst memories. And as a result of these instances, we don't get what we need. And anger towards not getting what you need doesn't ensure you get what you need. Sometimes you have to find a replacement. One of the hardest things I had to hear was from my grandmother, my mom's mother. When I was young and I was, in high school, I would call my grandmother and I would fuss. I was really heartbroken about this whole not being affectionate thing. Like, it made me feel severed inside. And I called my grandmother and sometimes I would fuss and sometimes I would cry. I just didn't understand it. And it was a kind of like, oh, why aren't I loved thing? Like, it was something that really broke me emotionally. And the first time I heard my grandmother say, she said, you know what? She said, you don't get to pick your parents. And she said, here's what you do. She said, when you get old enough, baby, she said, you can go out into that world and create the family you want to experience. And you don't have to look back no more. And I thought that was the worst solve ever in my life when I first heard it. I was like, are you telling me just stop tripping over whatever I got going on with my parents, go find me a husband, pop out some babies, and just go live and be fulfilled? That is terrible advice. It's like, you're supposed to be helping me fix this. You're supposed to be talking me into repair and amends and all of that, right? I thought it was insane advice at the time. So I was just like on the other end of the phone, rolling my eyes like, all right, grandma. That wasn't really what I want to hear, right? But now here I am years later, after going through my healing process and everything still, but here I am after the fact. I'm a mom now, I'm married now. And in my life today, I don't spend time pining over that because I don't know why. I can't explain to you why, but something was filled. And my mother is kind of crazy, a broken generational curse, but my mother did the same thing. She had more of a distant relationship with her father. She didn't even stay with him in the same home. But when she got with my father, she had 2 beautiful children and was the happiest I ever saw that woman. You wouldn't know she came from that. She didn't speak about it. And so sometimes you have breakdowns within your family and you have to accept that, my person is not affectionate, or my person was not ready to be a mother or was not ready to be a father, and allow them to be human. And then your forgiveness for them allows you to release their obligation on filling this outline that you drew for them. Your forgiveness for yourself allows you to move forward into your life and allow other people to make you happy in the same position, not as father, but as, your masculine or as your feminine, whatever the energy you're looking for, allow yourself to go out into the world and say, I'm ready to be happy now, whatever that looks like. Because what we don't realize is, like I said, you bind yourself. Even if it's something as simple as like, I want my parents' approval. You will be beating yourself for that well into your marriage, well into being a parent. Like, could you imagine how many adults are married with children still fighting for acknowledgement of a parent? Your focus is entirely in the wrong place. You literally have responsibilities to people now, and you're chasing a brokenness from 20 years ago because you won't release the knot. You refuse to give forgiveness because that person won't tell you they did you wrong. And it's okay to acknowledge your reality and say, I accept that I wanted you to love me in this way. You couldn't love me in this way because, and then replace it with something. Go to therapy, talk it out. Now, I'm talking to everyone, but specifically as melanated people, we have to debunk that foolishness that is for crazy people. It's a place where you can authentically talk about your experiences, how they made you feel without anybody coming down on you about it. It's a safe space. It's not about their assessment of you. It's about you being able to say, I felt broken without somebody going, oh my God, you're whining. You know what I mean? You have someone sitting on the other end of the room that's like, I can understand that. It's understandable to feel broken under those circumstances. Sometimes you just need validation. And when you're in relationships with people that have their character is contingent on your opinion, they won't give you validation, even if it will release you from your hardest, your most painful heartache. So therapy is a replacement for that, so you can get out what you need to say, absent criticism and judgment, absent losing a relationship, absent someone hanging it over your head or never letting you forget what you said that time. You see what I'm saying? Somewhere where you can get it out, get that energy out of your body, and if you want to, lock it away and move forward. We're locking it in our bodies and not talking to anybody. Do you honestly think you can show up as a good companion and a good parent like that? Shawnee's back. You can go ahead. I just keeping everybody busy. Free to come back.
I want to touch on something that you said when it came to forgiving your parents. Because for me, this is obviously something personal to me, but my mom passed away last year, and I was battling with forgiveness with her for years, and even when it got to a point of her being apologetic and accountable, it still wasn't enough for me. And I didn't know what to do to actually obtain that forgiveness and let it go, because I felt like ultimately it transformed my life, and my life is not a certain way because of it. But unfortunately, when she passed, something just clicked for me.
Connie, do me a favor real quick. The wind is blowing. Whichever direction the wind is blowing, turn your back to it to make sure the mic is not getting hit.
I don't know if this helps. I have to wait until I get inside. This way?
Yeah, that's much better. There you go.
So I was saying, unfortunately, when she passed, something just clicked for me, and I finally just let it go. Like, it was nothing that was needed, nothing anybody had to say to me, nothing I really had to say to myself anymore. It was just
You know
like,
what it was? Do you know what clicked?
no.
Rather not say. Oh, okay.
But I just felt like, I don't know, maybe I do know, but I just felt like, what am I holding on to? Like, I know what type of person she is. I know what she went through. I know what she was going through at that time. I know she loves me. Like, I know all these things. Like, we're not perfect. We all are on different journeys in life. And it was just like, now she's not here. Now, hopefully, she's in a better place and resting her soul. Like, why am I still down here mad at her? And I felt like almost like I was holding her back, even within the spirit realm, even with her being able to connect with God or whatever you believe in. Me being mad at her and just like holding this grudge, like, no, I'm never going to forgive you. Like, it just, so it was just almost easy and like immediate after she passed away, just to like forgive her because, it was just hurting me. I'm sure it hurt her anytime I brought it up or had conversations about what actually occurred and the reason why I didn't have the forgiveness. But it really was just keeping me resentful, sometimes hateful at times, and I wasn't able to proceed in a lot of ways within my life, within my new relationships because of that, because it all stemmed from my childhood and my connection with my mom. So that really touched me because I was one of those people that was holding on to something, unforgiveness and resentment for years. So that's just what I had to say.
Much appreciated. Before we pick back up, I want to go ahead and read a couple of these comments. Bree Sexton says, "When on the journey of forgiveness, how do you know that you've reached the point of being fully healed? Does being triggered again later in the journey mean that you haven't actually forgiven?" The first thing is I would say there's no such thing as fully healed. If there was a such thing as fully healed, I would describe it as this. I would describe it as the acknowledgement of a trigger and knowing how to acknowledge it and react to it in real time and manifest a healthy outcome. But yes, you can be triggered down the line. We talked about this in childhood trauma when we were discussing the layers of it. Like, um, let's just say your mother betrayed you and you forgave her for the betrayal, right? Let's say she didn't get an opportunity to raise you. She gave you up, right? You forgiven her for giving you up, right? So you guys are trying to manifest a healthy relationship and you guys are doing that successfully. But now she's pregnant. That's going to be your trigger. The actual idea that she gets the privilege of raising a child, she tells you she's going to keep it, and you're like, you literally gave me up. Now your mind's going to replay. Like, so you're going to keep that one? What's the difference between them and me? Your brain is going to have a difficulty with understanding that there are years between point one and point two. 1 second, you guys. Can anybody else hear us good? I hear somebody telling me on Facebook that they can't hear. Um, I can hear everybody fine. Is there anyone else that is unable to hear? Tamika, did you go out and come back in?
No. Can anybody hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay.
I feel like we should go ahead and continue. So far, it's only been one person that says that the
Okay.
sound was out. So I don't remember what I was saying. Oh, fully healed as far as yes, there will be a trigger. But your demonstration of being healed, not fully healed, but healed, is your ability to say, that triggers me. The fact that you're having a baby, the fact that you're keeping it, the fact that you're going to raise this child when you didn't raise me, I have a hard time with that. And addressing that real time is what constitutes for me as healed. If you were to deal with being given up gracefully, then all of a sudden you hear about this pregnancy and not only do you spaz, but you crush everything that you and your mother have built since you forgave her, then that would constitute as you might not have healed as much as you thought you did. You see what I'm saying? If does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense because it's funny she talks about knowing if you're healed and your triggers because use me for an example. There's a situation in my life that I'm working on my forgiveness, right? That bothers me to this day. It's about someone very close to me that I had on a high pedestal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was a type of achievement I had worked really hard for, and they were not there to celebrate me
Wow.
for their own reasons, right? I don't agree with the reasons, right? But again, people have their own choices. And when I asked this person, if you had a second chance, knowing how that hurt me, if you had a second chance, would you do the same thing again? And they said, yes, they would.
Mm.
And to this very moment, I have never received an apology, which is why I was saying before, we have to be okay with forgiveness without the apology. So what
Yes.
I did was, as I'm going through my process, and my son is clapping, going through my process, and I am yet evolving, right, and yet healing from those levels, those areas. Now I know when I have another achievement, I will never ever even let them know, because I
Yes.
know that the likelihood of that celebration is not going to come from them, which will again either dampen my mood, right, or put me back into that triggering space that you're saying, Afia, triggering me to that old response that was 10 plus years
Absolutely.
ago. Yeah.
Absolutely. Let me go ahead and read one more.
Yes.
Shawnee, did you have anything to add before I read another comment?
No, you can go ahead and read it.
Okay. Um, Lakita Hines. So you're saying to forgive and move on, but don't forget. But at times it's hard to do mentally, physically, and emotionally. What do you think about that, Shawnee?
She's saying sometimes it's hard to forget emotionally, mentally, and physically.
Yeah, I can read it one more time if you like.
Mhm.
So you're saying to forgive, to move on, but don't forget. At times it's hard to do mentally, physically, and emotionally.
I would say you have to sit with yourself. You have to sit with yourself, and it depends on what you're trying to forgive or forget. Is it a person? Is it a situation? And have a conversation with yourself and figure out what you're holding on to. Because if you're struggling and it's messing with you emotionally and mentally, it's something inside you're not letting go of, or there's maybe something that you're not accepting. Like you have to, like I said in the beginning, you have to accept the situation. You have to accept who they are and what they're displaying to you. Even if this is somebody that you love and it's difficult, you still have to find that acceptance and, like, okay, this is what they showed to me consistently. I'm going to take it for what it is, and I'm going to learn how to maneuver with that. And if you need
Absolutely.
to set boundaries or, go about it in a certain way, you have to have that conversation with yourself so you can break yourself emotionally and mentally, because ultimately you're dragging yourself in that situation. If they're never going to change, if the situation is never going to change, the relationship is never going to be how you want it to be, you have to let that go. And you're never going to feel emotionally regulated or mentally regulated until you do so. So that's just my advice for it.
Absolutely. And I love that. I definitely agree. And it is. The thing that one of the most popular sayings is it's easier said than done. And I've always loved and hated the phrase because it's so true. But when someone actually says it, I'm like, so is everything else. So I despise the saying because it's like a person says it to try and create like extra emphasis around this thing, like, oh, you should forgive your mom. And a person's like, easier said than done. And it's just like, duh, what potentially is easier done as opposed to said?
Nothing.
You see, right? You know what I mean? So it's like it's unnecessary to say. It's like as much as you want to say it, and it does have meaning to it. It really doesn't need to be said because yes, it coming out of your mouth will always be easier than you putting action into it. There is no aspect where the opposite is true. You know what I mean? So it's like if you want to accomplish forgiveness, we have definitions of words, and then we have manifesting those definitions into action. A word is just a word. I think another saying is we like to apply that to love. Love is just a word until you give it definition. Every word is just a word until you give it definition. You can say forgiveness until you're blue in the face. If your actions do not reflect forgiveness, it doesn't exist.
I want to chime in on that for that question, Afia, that Lakita Hines had. I want to say this: there is no timestamp on when you have to forgive someone,
True.
right? So when she was saying sometimes it's hard to do so mentally, physically, emotionally, she may not be ready to forgive that particular person. So
Agreed.
understand that, Lakita, if you're not ready, then it's just not the time. But understand the
Yes.
the, the counter to that is you won't be able to truly, right, complete your healing process when it pertains to that individual and or that situation. So let no one rush you in your forgiveness process, just like no
Yes.
one can rush your healing process, right? Understand that if you're not ready, then you're just not ready. Like I
Yes.
said before, forgiveness, it comes in layers, and I feel like the hardest part to forgive it, in my perspective. You guys, please let me know your perspectives. In my perspective, for me, I can physically forgive. I forgive you. I can say that. My mind can release it, but this heart, that
Yeah.
emotion, that
Yeah.
is the, oh my goodness, right? It's like it just, that's the hardest part for me to
Yeah.
really relinquish, because it hurt for me. For you to really hurt me, it takes a lot.
Yeah.
So it goes so deep to my core, and it's like
Yeah.
that's the last thing for me to forgive you. That last layer to forgive, it's like I don't want to. The other two things I'm
I was
good on, but I
listen,
don't
and
want to.
I was just getting ready to say that. And
Yeah,
sometimes you think about forgiveness. People will talk to you about forgiveness, and the response is, "I don't want to. I have no intention of forgiving this person." The beautiful thing about being an adult is you get to make the necessary decision. And one thing, and I, haven't said this on the platform yet, but I'm also a life coach. And if I have a client and they were to say something like that to me, I don't want to forgive them though. I would say, and that's well within your right as an adult. But understand, with lack of forgiveness, you're deciding to carry a weight. With lack of forgiveness, you're hindering your growth. Whether or not it's a little or a lot, we won't know until we see how it affects you. But you're hindering something by hanging on to this. You know that song by Erica Badu, Bag Lady, when she says you can't hurry up because you have too much stuff. When they see you coming, ninjas take off running. We're talking about your baggage. She's talking about your baggage that you're deciding to carry everywhere with you. You can decide not to forgive, but now that's a bag on your back. Eventually, all them bags gonna get in your way. Eventually, all them bags gonna get in your way, and they will. They'll stop you from love. They'll stop you from being able to connect to your passions. They'll stop you from being able to connect to your kids. So it's just, I would advise to work on these things because they heal you and allow you to make connections with other people going forward. But if you are an adult and you can say, I don't want to forgive this person and I'm okay with the bag that is going to set on my back as a result, who can argue with that? You would have to move forward in your life, see the cause and effect of your decision, and decide you don't like the outcome to make a different decision. No one has the right to tell you you're obligated to forgive. No one has the right to tell you that it's wrong if you don't want to forgive someone. You can make any of the decisions on the spectrum. All we're having a conversation about is what yields a positive outcome for you and others, what yields a negative outcome for you and others. And you have to decide according to what's going on inside of you, what outcome you want to see. My husband likes to say, be the change that you want to see. That will always ring true. If you want to experience a hateful environment, hold hate in your body. You want to experience peace, you hold peace in your body. You want to experience happiness, you hold happiness in your body. Everything outside of you is merely a reflection of what's inside of you. When you're in the most tore up version of yourself, ever notice how messy your car get? Ever notice how messy your house get? Your room? When your house, your room, your car look like chaos like that, is because your emotions and your spirit is in chaos. When you clear it up and you get into alignment, for some reason, the first thing you want to do is start cleaning, because it's a reflection of what's going on inside of you. When you are together, you don't want to be in mess. Literally, in your home, in your car, you just start cleaning up. But when you're depressed, it's easy to get in and out of a jacked up car with old, you know what I mean? Old hamburger wrappers and a bunch of other stuff, and it don't even phase you when you're that jacked up. Same thing in your house. You can have dishes in your sink for a couple of days and you just be looking like, I'm not in the mood. But when you have cleared out that muck, when you're not harboring a lack of forgiveness, when you're not hanging on to rage and anger, all of a sudden those things stand out to you as things that need to be cleaned, things that need to be dealt with, because you're in the process of healing. And especially women are like this. Like, they can live in clutter when they're in clutter, but when they're clear, we clean, child. Like, even a person that don't like to clean will get a mop and a vacuum. When they're getting their life together, all of a sudden they're cleaning. And it's not about being nasty versus clean. It's a manifestation of your internal self. Everything that goes on outside of you is a reflection of what's going on inside of you. If you're having arguments and all of this, and you can't never find the peace in a situation, you lack peace in here, which is affecting your perspective, which is why you're clashing with everything. So forgiveness is a part of that. And when you are ready to be done with pain, when you're ready to be done with resentment and anger, no one will have to convince you to forgive. You'll go looking for it because you're done carrying the weight. No one has to educate you on that. Even the most ignorant person that has no idea, has never been taught the concept of forgiveness, their spirit will lead them to make amends in one way or another, because they need to get that weight off. It's instinctual. You don't even have to have a word to call it. You see what I'm saying? You will take the necessary steps to create harmony because you're spiritually done with that feeling. And it's like, it's very instinctual.
Can I chime in one more time? Sorry, it's just
Sure.
it's flowing. It's flowing.
No.
Shawnee, I keep going back to your accountability, right? When you talk about accountability. But in order to be accountable, you have to be honest with yourself and say it actually hurt you, right? We're so strong, especially as women of color. We're so strong. Society's made us so strong and so masculine. We're in our masculine or operating out of our masculine so much. We forget, hey, it's okay to have your feelings hurt. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be sad. And I think in order for us to have that accountability, we have to be honest with ourselves, right? That this actually bothers me. You can't always say, oh, it's okay, I'll get over it. You might not, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
It may take a while for you to say, you know what, this really, I'm surprised this actually hurt me. Or I'm
Yeah.
surprised I'm still bothered, right? That still matters. So we can't be honest with ourselves about how something hurt us. How in the world can we expect forgiveness, or an apology, I should say, from someone else?
Yes. Absolutely. And I appreciate that addition. That was definitely much, much needed. I would like to say to everyone, we appreciate you guys so, so much for being loyal to this new manifestation that we have come together to create. It's very important to us. And I know that I speak for all of us without speaking for all of us, but it's very important to us, I think, that we see how women are perceived and the way that they're understood means the world to us. Not only because we get to bask in the glory of it, but we understand you because we are you. And I can say for myself, it's a painful thing to see women in disarray and women in lack of healing and women in brokenness, and they're not using their voice to get to where they need to be. There's so many aspects. And, right now we're leading with all these interpretations of where we are. And women who are in the process of healing can hear those same little mantras that they're shouting out and go, no, baby, that's pain. You know what I mean? And it's like, this panel had to be done. It had to be done because whether we want to say it out loud or not, I might be the first, because I certainly, and you guys tell me, I haven't heard anyone say it out loud. As much as we're lacking fathers, we're lacking mothers. There may be single mothers. That doesn't make them emotionally available, intelligent. That doesn't make them stable. That doesn't make them healed. That doesn't mean that they're a good example. They may be present, but they're not manifesting the same class of women I came from, that taught me, that I look for in my friends. And this is not shade, but I'm saying, like, it was a standard that I grew up around. Don't get me wrong, I saw all classes of women, but the standard that developed who I wanted to be, that shaped my standard, I don't see it around much. For me to be able to put together a panel of women who hold dear the same values that I look out into the world with is a rarity, to say the least. And I don't see that much because it doesn't exist. I think it's covered with protection. I think it's covered with dirt and rocks, and we can't see the diamonds anymore. And I'm like, I want to see your sparkle, love. Like, I really do. No more anger and cussing everybody out and doing wrong to people because you feel hurt inside, but just saying, like, oh my gosh, like, that freaking hurt. Like, you know what I mean? And claiming that so you can feel it and process it and overcome it, instead of pushing it down and pushing it aside because you don't want to look weak. It may get you through the moment, but it's making you hard. And that hardness can't love a man. That hardness can't raise no kids. And it sucks to hear that everything that has made you the way that you are is not conducive to a family, but those are the facts. You're going to have to unlearn everything that has hardened your heart to reclaim your nature. Get back in your happiness, get back in your glow, get back in your smile and your self-care and your joy and your hobbies and your purpose, and be vibrant again in the way that I like. When I hear the word woman, I see women dancing in the rain and hula hoops, and you know what I mean? Like, not women cussing each other out and beating each other up. Like, I see women creating and knitting and doing each other's hair and cooking, and oh my goodness, like, I see an abundance of gifts, and we're going to have to do the work. So I'm like, I'm not exempt work I need to do. So I'm like, you know what? Let's get up here and walk through this together, because I'll pick up my gems too. Meek will pick up her gems too. Nina and Shawnee will pick up their gems too. And while we're conversing and unpacking the things that go, well, no, that don't really feel right. Somebody's on somebody's in the chat going, yeah, what Meek said, that don't feel right. But then she will join Meek in getting clarity, or join me in getting clarity, and know that she's represented on the panel, that we don't all have the same thought. We will conflict sometimes and go, well, I mean, I hear you, but I don't really like that. I understand what you're saying, but I prefer the toxic route on this one. And there's no shame in saying it. But I'm thankful to you all. Ladies, this is going to expand with every discussion we have. We're going to grow immensely. And with your support and your participation, this will become a really epic healing space for us all. And I hope you see and hear and feel sisters among you, because I might have picked some of the best on panel, but I promise you we got some gems in the chat too. Like when I start seeing my girls in there, I'm just like, oh, they came. And I'm so happy because they're growing as well. But you can tell with the words that they use that they come in a lot of love and they're looking for a lot of healing. And that makes my heart smile to know that they didn't come in here bringing ruckus. You know what I mean? They didn't come in here to clown anybody about their experience, but they came here to listen, and they came here to reveal themselves. And that's where the healing is. I'm going to introduce something to you guys before I let you guys go, because I've been thinking, like, I always chatterbox before we log off here. And I was like, I need something to say at the end. We need something to say at the end. So we'll change this over time. But I thought about closing out with acknowledge, rebuild, evolve. And we will probably change it. But I was thinking of something that embodies what we're trying to do here. And we're trying to grow. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for blessing us. If you guys want to have any final words before I tie everything off, or you guys good?
I think you did it all.
No final one. Yeah, I think everything
I
was
don't want to be
said.
like send off peace, and they're like, I want to say bye.
Right. No, you did it. You did it all.
Okay. Well, ladies, I hope you find healing. I hope you find abundance and joy and love and purpose. And we will see you guys next Friday. And before I drop that tag on you guys, I'm going to announce again, we'll be adding 3 more days to our week shortly. I will put the post up to let you guys know when that's going to start. So soon, very soon, we'll be starting doing our podcast 4 nights a week, which I'm really excited about. You'll see us more often. But until then, we will see you Friday. Acknowledge, rebuild, and grow, loves. Bye. Hey, Izzy.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Good.
How you doing?
Good. I literally just finished a live like a minute ago.
I just keep on walking on your live. Yeah, he came from upstairs because I didn't get any water.
Oh,
like, it's closer to get water from down here than upstairs.
yeah. No, I understand completely.
Lacey, my left ear canal has been like clogged all day.
Really?
Just like 1 a.m. this morning.
Oh, wow. Is it causing you pain?
Say again?
Is it causing you pain?
Only if I miss food.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, normally I'm trying to like put stuff like do this with my hand like suction.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Uh-huh.
but today it's just
Well, I hope
burning.
it feels better. Yeah, that sounds. I can't
Yeah.
stand pain in my ears, Izzy.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, I hope you feel better. That's awful.
Especially since it's like clogged, you just feel it clogged.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, it makes you dizzy.
Yeah, give you a headache and all of that. Oh my
I've been
goodness.
taking like sinus pills.
Okay, good.
And once a day I'll gonna like spray my nose.
Okay.
Get rid of it.
Oh, good, good. Yeah, I was just getting ready to ask. I hope you're taking something for it.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be gone in the next couple of days.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love you.
Love you too. Good night. I understand. No worries. Mm. Thank you for that. I was running my mouth.
I'm not used to I'm not used to I was like, who's gonna call? Oh.
No, I literally my thumb was literally sitting on it, and one of the boys came down to get some water, and he was telling me he didn't feel well. So I was talking to him like, what doesn't feel well? I hope you feel better and all of that. So I was like sitting there like, okay, waiting for the door to shut to push the button.
Yeah. I know Shawnee's phone was dying, so I know she's gonna be able to.
Yeah, and she's checking it. I hope she can jump on because I'll just have to message her. But I wanted to tell her that I was really proud of her today. Not only because she started the conversation and it's her first, but she managed to even like stay on camera and everything. And she literally like she was checking into a shelter. Like that's why she was outside. So it was just like she went in to check in. That's why she took a break. She went in to check in and then came back out and jumped back on. And I was like, yeah, I gotta make sure I pour into her when I get off. Cause girl.
So where's Nina?
Apparently her job called her like an hour before and she had to go in. Yeah, so I was just like, yeah. So I'm like, she messaged me and she was like, she had to work tonight or whatever, and she was like, I literally found out an hour before you, and I was like, dang. I was like, well, I'm glad I'm glad you could show up in that instance, but I'm like, shoot, that would make me kind of mad to be hit up like an hour before anything. Like, I mean, but never mind the podcast, but I'm just like, be here in an hour. Like, oh my God, it would take heaven and earth for me to not go in there with an attitude doing me like that. Like, I'm like, I gotta be there in an hour. Like,
and my son just, why you gotta be so loud? Okay, so question.
Yeah.
So I know we'll start into a rant. He's getting tired. So Friday is Worldly Love Day, whatever.
Yeah.
So we're gonna continue on this because next will be Nina, right? It'll be her next block.
Yeah.
Are we gonna continue on this course, or are we going to detour like a self-love segment just for the National Day of Love? And can we all wear like shades of red and pink? Like,
sure.
Okay.
Let me tap in with Nina since she just started working today. Let me see what her schedule is for Friday and see how she feels about it, because I wouldn't want to take it from her and she was excited about it.
Of course.
And if she's okay with pushing it back, then yeah, for sure. And I'm like, honestly, it would be good to just kind of have a chill kind of day. Like I don't know, my brain's been everywhere lately, so I just been kind of like it would be nice to get a live done without having to think so hard before.
Right.
And
I've been in the federal class all week, so my brain, I was like, with the feds, and the feds they just dry, and I was the only Black in the whole class.
Wow.
And one of 3 females.
Yeah.
So it made me happen to just, be up there. So I was so stressed. I passed the class and now I have a federal training, thank goodness. But
good. That's real good.
So but yeah, if she does want to keep her segment, I'm totally fine. So I would like for us, if we can have time, I know with Shawnee it'd be a little different, right?
Yeah.
Some type of red or pink or some type of, put the energy to vibrate. It's Venus Day.
Yeah.
Quote unquote love day. So I'm I'm in a Victoria's Secret pink. What am I thinking? It's been a long week.
Yeah, no, and I feel the same way. That's why I was just like, honestly, I was gonna get off and just tell you guys like no major talk tonight. Nina's not gonna be there anyway, so I'm like, I'd rather have us all on the same call so I don't have to say it again.
Yeah. So my tummy's been like hurting. So I'm cool. I'm gonna put that out there about I keep saying Love Day. But
no, I hear you.
We're talking to the masses, right? We can't take our own, and people. And there are a lot of women, I'm sure, who are either went through divorce or just some type of need something to hold on to, the classic for that day.
Absolutely. You know? Yeah, I'm like, and there's and so I don't know when we'll schedule it, but I don't know, sometime between now and Tuesday, I want to get us all on a call so we can, I guess, discuss Love Day or whatever we're doing next Friday, so I could start the promo. Also, us to discuss when we want to start the full week.
Okay.
And because I'm gonna wait till we decide on that before I start making flyers as pairs, because I'm like, I don't want to make all of that and then we just decide, nah, we want to do something different.
Right.
So I'm like, I want to make sure that's solidified before I even do all that work. Otherwise, I'm gonna be like, you mean to tell me how to edit all this stuff and we're not even gonna use it?
Okay, well, see, my tummy is hurting me.
No, I hear you. Listen, I had a headache before we got on the live, so I was just like, oh my gosh, and this light is in my face. I'm like, I'm about to have a whole migraine by the time I get
here. Some fear was going on my body. I did a spiritual cleanse with a bath and oil.
Yeah.
And I bet there's this purging, like whatever. I go to my spiritual realm, I go into it.
Yeah, yeah.
And sometimes it manifests. I'm just curious what's going on, but he and her bounce like a jack in the box. I'm gonna get to it and see what's going on with me.
Real quick question before I let you go. If you could send me any details you could think of some type of like detox, like a herbal detox or whatever. I was on the depot, which caused me to gain like an abundance of weight. It's so funny because people think this weight on me is baby fat. I'm like, no, it's birth control. I started taking that daggone depot, and that sucker always does the same thing. It increases my appetite and makes me more lethargic. So now I'm not active, but I'm eating all the time.
Yeah, my mom was like that.
So I stopped taking that almost a month ago in a couple days. But I want to start kicking all the stuff out my system.
Okay.
So when I start working, I am, yes.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't know. It might not even be all that serious. Maybe I just need to just cut back on my proportions and drink a lot of water and start exercising, and maybe that's enough.
I looked at my book and look what's safe for babies. That he can get this milk and you'll be okay. You just want to get you a recipe like the secret tea, and that'd be the easiest way.
Yeah.
I looked at my book and give me about a day or two because you can comb through it.
Oh no, take all the time you need. I was just thinking, since it's about to be warm weather, I'm about to start walking and stuff, so it'll be a good time for me to start implementing my diet and all of that stuff, so I can get some stuff done.
For sure, without having to worry about herbal jump starts or stuff. You're not gonna like this.
Okay.
You're not gonna like it.
Okay.
But how you juice all your fruits?
Yeah.
Juice all your vegetables.
Oh, okay.
The only fruits you can probably have that will help you with this, you can probably do okay, baby. Okay, ball. You can probably do the apple, because apples they make you a bathroom, right? Naturally. But
yeah.
If you do I know you ain't gonna like this, but your beet juice, like your beet and kale, your beet and cucumber,
okay,
gonna make you handle it's gonna help you be a diuretic and be a natural,
And you're saying like blend them like in a smoothie?
If you can juice it straight, if you're a juicer, that'll be ideal.
Oh, okay, I gotta get a juicer. So
if you do a smoothie, you have to add another component to bind it, correct?
No.
Water or another juice, no?
Oh, yeah. Like I've been using apple juice.
So apple juice is full of sugar, right?
I use the baby tots one with the less sugar.
Okay, so you use apple juice as your base.
then just do your beets and your kale or your cucumber, but no other fruit you can have. And then what you want to do too, so that's what I did when I had a little baby when I had Chunky. What you want to do as well is can you do a 21? I know you're breastfeeding, but can you do a 21 day just ready for this raw vegan?
I don't even know what that means.
So raw vegan means none of your food is cooked. So if you're gonna have, for example, you want to have broccoli, you can't stove. You can steam it in the steamer.
Yeah.
You can't put it on the stove. So no open fire. That's raw vegan. So you can do like your juicing, and then you will have whatever your vegetables are. You can only steam them. You cannot open fire them on the stove. And you can have any meat, dairy, right? No meat or dairy, no cheese for 21 days. If you can do, I had milk in the, when I did mine, I had milk in the freezer for Chunky. When I did mine, I would prepare my body to do it.
Yeah.
It's going to naturally reset your system. It takes 21 days for the body to form a habit in the brain. But 21 days will reset your system.
Yeah.
Anytime between time kind of cleans you out.
Yeah.
That gives me enough time when you get done with that natural food to reset your system portion. You'll have a clean enough system from like calcium.
Yeah.
To take the herbal tonic or tea I'm able to find you. If you take it now, it's going to be the purpose. You'll be eating the same.
Okay, so only vegetables and that juice you was telling me about is what you're saying? Okay, I can technically do it. My only concern is I know that they say don't fast at all while breastfeeding.
You're not fasting. Just eat raw. You can eat all day long. You can eat all day long. Fast, so don't fast means you intermittent fasting. You'll go 8 hours without eating. You'll wake up at like 8 in the morning, not eat till like 2 in the afternoon. No, you can eat all day. You can eat all day, 24/7, 365, all day long. You're gonna actually want to eat all day. But all you can eat are raw.
Okay, so
no fire.
Raw vegetables or steamed vegetables, and then the cucumber, beets, and what were you using as what would you use as a base if not apple juice?
So I have a juicer.
Okay.
I had it straight. Yeah, I had a juicer.
Oh, okay.
From Amazon.
Okay.
So I was able to take the vegetables and put in the thing and hit the button and let it juice itself.
Oh, okay.
But if you have to use a mixer, I'm fine with apple juice. I'm cool with that. Maybe keep your sugar from dropping too, but when your body goes to a shock factor. Your body will go into ketosis, which is a calorie burning, which is normal. It's nothing weird. It's just what your body will go into. People who do keto do that. And basically, you're not going to have any carbs. The only carb you're going to have, you'll get from your vegetable, which is virtually nothing. You're going to want to eat a whole lot more anyway, because you're going to burn through your food so fast. The idea you're telling your body to do is, your body has increased its metabolism, decreased its metabolism. And whatever you have to eat has stored itself as fat, right?
Yeah.
So you're telling your body by eating this way, right? You're telling your body, hey, I want to burn the stored fat I have. So let me not eat any other carbs.
Okay.
You eat carbs, right? When you eat carbs, carb is energy, right?
Yeah.
So if you're lethargic, you're not because of the depot, you're just eating carb and just sitting on it. So carb is energy. What you don't burn breaks down as sugar and stores as fat. So you need to burn all that storage. Because what your body's doing is you're eating more and more. You're just storing it. Which is the key to obesity, right? So you need to burn all that by minimizing the amount of carbs you intake.
Okay.
So the vegetables and the fruits will give you the energy you need. Meanwhile, when you feel like you're about to deplete yourself, eat some more raw fruit. It'll burn those stored carbs.
Okay, and one other thing. I've had intense sugar cravings since I had Meek. I thought it was high cortisol levels.
You had what did you have?
Sugar. Like my sweet tooth has been through the roof. Like, I mean, when I say craving bad, like every time I go to the store, I'm getting something sweet. And I'm like, I'm not a sweet eating person. But I'm like, while I was pregnant and ever since I had him, my sugar craving has been high. I've been eating a lot of like wanting candy, ice cream, and it's like, even just a little bit doesn't do it. Like, I'm just like, I can have a candy bar and I'll be like,
Well, you do know, like, your body will never be the same again, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I just didn't expect to be a nutcase for sugar.
So like me, so with Chunky, the only thing I would say changed about me was I say an unsweetened thing, but I love about unsweetened teas. But your body will never be the same. But you can, so if you're having a sweet tooth, substitute it for rice cakes, right? Caramel rice cakes. It's 100 calories. It's virtually paper, and they taste amazing.
And they're called what?
Rice cakes.
Okay.
You get the small ones or the large ones. If you get the small ones, so even if you're going raw vegan for 21 days, you can still have a protein base. So if you want to put some almond butter on your rice cake for like your sweet tooth snack, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
But yeah, but you're gonna have to reset yours. I did the same thing when I had Chunky. I had to reset myself. Remember, I have lupus. You had MS, so our body went through a whole lot. So I had to reset myself. It took me about 3 months to get back. I'm still falling off a little bit, but I did the raw vegan for 21 days, and I was mad. In my raw vegan process, I fell in love with cauliflower. I had air fried cauliflower, buffalo cauliflower.
I like cauliflower. That'll actually make me want to make it. Yeah.
And then don't take it. What you're doing is keep taking your prenatal. I hope you still take yours, but still take your prenatal. I had stopped taking my prenatal vitamins. I was breastfeeding Chunky, and I've noticed about the past couple of months, my locks are starting to have a life of their own. And I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
So, I went back on them.
Okay.
Postnatal to get my body back.
And I probably should have. I stopped taking them too.
So, I mean, when I say you can't tell, but I've had about, I think I counted like 8 lots that have actually snapped. You can't tell, but I was like, what? So I was reading about crap. So
no, I got one. I was just pinching earlier today. I said, oh, this sucker about to come out.
Yep. So, and I was like, I saw either I'm going to end up trimming them to the same length, which is fine. I mean, it's just dead hair, but I know it's because of that shift. I should have went from prenatal to postnatal, and then to regular women's multivitamin, and let my system out of it, and I didn't do that. So, so be mindful. When you go through this raw vegan process, just be mindful of your potassium. That's all. Lay off of bananas if you eat them during this process.
I do.
All the leafy greens are full of potassium. You can't really have leafy green juice and eat a banana. It's like, right?
Okay.
You don't want to have liver failure or kidney failure. So I would lay off of the bananas. But that beet juice is your best friend. I'm still drinking now. It's good for your blood anyway. So.
And I have some. I've been sipping on it, but nothing major. Just like taking a swig here and there.
No, I love it.
Yeah, it's not bad. Okay, well, I was gonna say I just did my grocery shopping, but I'll probably go again probably sometime next week, and I'll just go get what I need and get ready. And this is gonna be painful because like when I tell you my appetite has been through the roof. Like I was just telling Kev, I was like, I literally feel hungry all freaking day. Like I'm like, if I'm not fat, I should be. Like, and I was just like, so I don't know. My body is gonna I woke up today feeling like I starved myself yesterday. And I was just like, oh my gosh. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like waking up and just all I want to do is go to the kitchen and make me something to eat. And then eating something. Yes. And like eating something and then turning around and fixing something else right after. Like, I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, I don't make one sandwich. I make 2.
No, you have to have some portion control.
I've been eating starving hungry. Like, oh my God. Like if I don't, I'm gonna eat one sandwich and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go grab some chips is what I'm gonna eat.
Drink some water.
And I'm like, I can't take it. I'm like, I don't know what, like my hunger has been insane. That's why I was just like, I kicked that birth control quick. I said, oh yeah, you trying to make me obese.
And so my mother years ago was on Depo-Dera and I was never on it. I was on low estrogen 24, and what they did, they gave me hormonal acne when I came off of it, tore my skin up. And if I fell in love with herbalism about 10 years ago, because no one could feel what was wrong with me. My system was off. I ended up figuring it out and fixing my own self. And then I went to esthetician. Now I'm glowing. But
nice.
I tell you, those hormones, a woman's body is amazing.
Yeah, no, I believe it.
Right? And so I'm not a fan of birth control. If I'm not having no sex with nobody, I'm sitting right now, I still get pregnant, and I'm not trying to.
And
So
see,
the best thing
honestly,
for
I'm
me
not
is
gonna
not
lie
this.
to you. Like, I'm not a fan either. Like, if there was a way for me to use something natural and not put myself at risk without taking
Right.
birth control, I swear to God, I would. I hate it. But I'm like, I know if I get off, I'm knocked up. That's like I know that for sure. Like,
The
if
pull-out
I
game is weak. He can't. The pull-out game is weak.
oh yeah, no, like that's gonna be instantaneous. Ain't none of that.
I
Like,
love it. I love it. Why do I love it?
ain't none of that at all. Like, listen, this struggle right here, trying to get to my insurance so I can, because I'm like, I'm getting ready to get the little implant in my arm.
Oh, next one on.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Why you say that?
I had that when I first moved to Dallas in 2013. Had the Nexplanon. It was in my arm for 2 weeks. I tell you, I had a burning sensation that would not stop.
Did you?
I had it taken out. When they took it out of my arm, I said, you know what? As a matter, they took it out my arm, and I had like a little keloids. I don't know what about it. Maybe I don't know, but
I've had it before, but I just figured, yeah, this will be my second time, and I wore it the entire duration.
Nah,
but
my body was like negative. My body was like, we don't want this.
Yeah. But I'm like, right now I'm on daggone.
So no more babies?
Not right now. No. Right now I'm literally on this over-the-counter birth control, but I don't have discipline.
Over the counter?
Yeah, because like I said, my insurance and stuff. So I'm like, they're now, yes. Swear to God. They even got a off-brand plan B now. That sucker ain't $60 no more. It's $8.
It's $8.
Yeah. I found that trying to find my birth control.
This how I eat. I have steamed broccoli, jasmine rice, Japanese corn, and turkey meatloaf.
Okay.
And I have a scale. Remember I was a gym fanatic.
Yeah.
Into fitness. And then if to help with your portions, get a scale.
Oh no, I got one. I just use it for me and not myself.
You know what? No, you can't.
Girl, I manage his intake, not mine. I told myself I was grown. I could do what I want to do.
No, ma'am.
Yeah, no, I'm a stop. Like I said, that depo is gonna clear me out. My appetite is going to drop as soon as my body adjusts to it not being like, it's just shy of 30 days. So I'm like, my body will pick up on it, and my appetite is gonna drop by itself. And I'm like, that's gonna help me lose weight by itself because I won't be hungry all the time. But
crazy. I'm gonna say I was looking at whose birthday we just had. Who's the birthday? Not Justin. Justin, what's the baby?
Oh, one of the boys. Izzy.
Has Jay gained some weight?
Who? Oh, I don't know.
She looks heavy.
No shade, but I feel like she's always looked like that.
I was asking if you were talking about eating habits. I was wondering how y'all have dinner as a family. I was asking.
We have dinner as a family occasionally, but not like it. We might do like Sunday dinner sometimes.
Gotcha.
But honestly, she's supposed to be cutting back. She's doing her little protein. She goes to the gym. She's
gained about 30 pounds.
And she might have like because listen, she was vegan. She was vegan. She's pescatarian now.
That fish is full of mercury, girl.
Listen, but the funny thing is like, okay, because I was pescatarian when I came into this union.
Oh.
And so
Where's the individuality?
So it's funny because I was telling her, like, there was no way I was going to be vegan because I'm like, I love seafood too much. So I was like, I'll just do pescatarian. And then I eliminated all the meats. And I also eliminated anything out of a can or out of a box. So I'm like, I was doing really well. You know what I mean? Like, no processed food, just straight vegan, and then occasional eggs. Okay. And so my body felt the best while I was eating like that or whatever. But I was telling her that there was no way I could be vegan because I've heard about the vitamin deficiencies or whatever. And at that time, she had already been practicing vegan for years. So I thought it was funny that just like, I probably say within like the last year or so, her daughter switched from being vegan to pescatarian. And I'm like, my thing was like, I eventually started eating meat again. So Kev eats meat. Because with him not having a stomach or whatever to keep his weight on or whatnot. So it's like, it's just me and him that eat meat. The kids and her were all vegan. But then Janae started eating fish. And then all of a sudden she was like, oh, vitamin deficiency. So I'm going to eat pescatarian. I'm like, bro, you've been vegan for like, I don't know how many years. You already knew about the vitamin deficiency. And I'm like, it's more about, because like Kev doesn't cook vegan. So a lot of his meals were prepared on this end. And I'm like, she kept reiterating, like, oh, I miss Kevin's cooking. I miss Kevin's cooking. So she's pescatarian now, long story short. So now the whole house is pescatarian, and then me and Kev eat meat. Me and Kev eat meat. Because I'm like, eventually the youngest son switched over, and then the middle son switched over.
You know that my son does not eat meat. So which is fine. I want to keep him decalcified, right?
Yeah.
And so, but his brain is fine. He's fine. So I talked to his dad, and I was like, hey, I want to introduce him to fish. Only because I want him to still have a childhood. He can't have chicken nuggets. He can have fish nuggets.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so he was like, all right, well, let's give it a shot. And he eats it. I think that, you know, when he gets an age and I want to try it, I'll let him try it. He probably going to reject the crap out of it because he's like, what is this? It might make it sick. But I'm definitely open to allowing him to say, Mommy, let me taste it. I mean, I eat meat.
Yeah,
I don't eat a lot of it, but I do eat it. So
yeah.
What I'm saying is the idea of if I was able to eat seafood, like if I didn't have a seafood, if I could have fish, if I didn't have a shellfish allergy, I probably would go straight pescatarian.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I can't have the other ranges of the sea. I would be stuck eating cod, but sea bag, which is a sporting fish, so I'll be stuck with just a steer. I'm like, and I'm a lamb chop girl.
Yeah, no,
so
I hear you.
Yeah,
and I'm like, and that's what happened is like when I was a pescatarian and Kev could burn, his ass can cook his damn ass off. So he started introducing me to damn duck and damn lamb and damn all these damn meats I ain't never had before in my life. And I'm like, now I'm like, how am I supposed to go back to pescatarian when I'm eating stuff this delicious?
Listen.
And so I'm like, you know, but I'm like, now that I'm gaining all this weight, I'm like, you know, I've been telling him I need to go back to what I was doing before and get back on it. Either that or keep eating meat, but just reduce my proportions substantially so I can keep my weight where I want it or whatever. But yeah, I took this screenshot and I want to send it to you so bad, but it's completely petty.
God.
It's completely petty.
Don't be messy.
I cannot listen. Somebody has to join me, okay? And I choose you as my person, but I haven't officially decided I want to be petty yet. That's why you don't have it yet. So I'm just gonna tell you verbally that I was scrolling on Samik's page on Facebook, and he's friends with JV on Facebook. I don't follow her, so I don't have to look at her content.
It's on my nerves.
No, because listen, you got to think about it. Like, I have Kev on my page, so when he posts, I see it. So,
of course,
if he posts and she posts, that means I got to look at it twice.
Oh my God!
And I'm like, I only need to see y'all beautiful relationship once. And since I got to support him in his lives and like everything that he does to show widely support, his page is the page I'm following, not yours. But anyway, and the funny thing is, this was not a mutual agreement, but it's reciprocated. So I'm even more so not mad because we on the same page. But anyway, so I'm scrolling and I come across this video of her doing a side by side on like when to speak and when not to speak.
A side by side.
Yeah, like you know how I do my videos. Yeah. That's not what I want to talk to you about, but that's a point too, though. I'm over that part. That fried my brain a year ago. But I'm like, okay, so I'm watching it. Tell me why. She is reviewing a video with glasses on. And I screenshotted it because I was just like, this is unfucking real, yo.
She wears glasses, girl?
No. That's what made it even worse.
Oh my God, why is she like this?
And I was just like, I was like, look at, I was like, in my brain, I was like, look at this shit. I'm gonna screenshot it and send it to Mika. Because I was like, I want her to see that I'll be making this shit up.
You know what? I feel like it's flattery, Lacey.
It is not. Kevin be trying to convince me of that junk too, talking about imitation is the highest form of flattery. I say, yeah, whatever. When that joke is outside your house, yeah.
We are Virgos, so he can't position that too. We look at that. We can make stuff sound good. I mean, it's flattery, right? I mean,
it is not. It's annoying.
Look at it this way. Look at this way. Look at this kind of right. I'm being devil's advocate. Look at it this way.
Mm-hmm.
It could be worse.
In what way?
She could start locks.
Oh, she didn't. We had that conversation.
Like, take your wins, you know.
Girl, the day she starts locks, I'm cutting my hair.
No, you are.
Yes, I am.
The devil, my mother would
The
say.
devil is alive when we take pictures next to him with both of us having locks.
I mean, she already had some braids or something.
Oh, I know, and that definitely reached in my spirit and sent me to hell and back, all the way down to her booty, mind you.
All I'm saying is, I ain't saying nothing.
I just try not to look at it.
On a positive, I would say that your weight looks good on you. You look healthy. You don't look out of shape or obese. So
thank you.
Looks good. It looks good.
I have a tummy, Mika. Look it.
I do too.
I hate it. Baby. You do not have a tummy. Don't ever lift your shirt up at me, and you could see your 4-pack. You lucky I got on a dress. I am so mad at you right now. No, you did not. No, you did not pitch that. And Mika.
I used to be
girl. If you don't look so damn good, and shut up. No, I understand though, because I'm like, I keep hearing that too. They're like, you look so pretty. I like that healthy weight on you. I'm like, I don't like all this jiggling. Bump that.
I mean, I used to be, you know how I used to be that girl. Now I'm that girl plus one, like no ma'am.
Yeah.
And we Virgos, you married to Cam, we are very, very vain about how we look.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I'm not mad. I definitely am. I'm like, every time Kevin point the camera at me, I'd be like, I'm not in the mood to be on camera right now.
I haven't seen y'all in a photo shoot yet. Y'all haven't had no photos recently.
And we not till I lose this damn weight. I'm like, I ain't brought up no damn pictures or taking nothing. I'm like, I'll volunteer for pictures when I'm the way I want to look in pictures. I said it better be somebody's birthday because I ain't about to be in it.
You look fine, like you really do. Don't quit being so hard on yourself. You look fine. You had a baby.
I'm not upset with how I look, but this is not camera ready by my own standard. I'll say that. I'm not mad. It don't keep me up at night. I'm not like, oh my God, I'm fat. But I'm like, I can't fit almost all my clothes. I need to go shopping. And I'm not about to be taking pictures in something that look like my mama's clothes. I'm just saying it looked like I'm squeezing in the clothes I don't belong in because my size has changed so much. And I'm like, I don't like taking pictures like that. It make me look even bigger because the clothes is squeezing me.
They doing what?
The clothes is squeezing me.
I'm so done with you. I can't take you serious.
But yeah, I'm not gonna hold you though. I know you said you had stuff to do. I just wanted to ask you about the detox thing because I'm like, I really need to get on this, and hopefully once this good weather start kicking in, I'm gonna put Meek in that stroller and we're gonna go walking every day.
Go walking. Listen, I walk for a lot with my son, and it's such a reset for the mind.
Absolutely.
It's such a mental refresher. I'm telling you.
I wish I didn't have such bad morning sickness. Otherwise, I would have done it with Samika pregnancy. But I'm like, if I end up pregnant again, I'm gonna try my best to commit to going walking and keep that weight low, that weight gain low.
How much weight you gain in your pregnancy?
Honestly, you wouldn't believe me, but I lost so much weight with the morning sickness that I ended up at my weight when I had him. I was literally at 136. So my weight gain wasn't until after.
I dropped 14 pounds my first 13 weeks from being sick. Once I hit 14 weeks, I gained a little bit. I gained my original weight back to 145, and then I didn't start gaining weight until about week 32. And when I had my son, I weighed 160.
Okay.
And I was all, when I had my son, I stood up, like the next day I stood up, my son was flat.
That's what I wanted to
I
see.
was all baby.
Yeah. Like when I got home, it's crazy because when I got home after I had him, my body took on a lot of water. Afterwards, my whole freaking body blew up like a daggone balloon, and it took like I don't know how many days to kick that water. And then I slimmed back down, but I'm like, I went immediately to get on birth control and started eating. So I'm like, if I would have left that alone, I probably wouldn't even put on this weight. But I was just like, no,